Okie dokie. Good morning, everyone. Let me make sure I'm stopping share. Well, does it look like I'm sharing anything? All right, good. Okay, then when I share, tell me if it shares because that's going to be important. All right, good morning, everybody. So, as you all know, part of my job is to lead generate as well. So, I'm going to put in a shameless plug for myself that if you know anyone that is in need of a great coach, let me know. So, I've got 4 spots to fill, and I'm ready to fill them. So, let me know if you know anyone. All right, awesome. Today, we're going to jump into for sale by owners. Okay. And you guys are in an awesome little window here to have success with for sale by owners. Okay. And I'm going to show you why in the data. So now I am going to share my screen and I want you guys to, I don't want to share that one. I want to share this one. Let me know if I actually did share it or not. Did that work? Okay. Awesome. So this, not all of you would have gotten it, of course, but this is what's happening everywhere. Okay. So this was in your Realtor Weekly this week if you live in Indianapolis. Okay. And it's a snapshot of the market of what happened in July. Here's what's important, what I saw that was super important. Okay, so the median sales price, it's up 6.6%, but that's from last year. It's just steady from month over month. Okay, so we're starting to steady out on that kind of stuff. Here's what's interesting though. We had an increase of new listings of 3.3%. Okay, so we have more new listings than we've ever had. And we have less closed sales than we have. Okay, so that doesn't match up, right? We can't have lots of new listings and the closings not happening to actually close all those new listings that are coming on, right? So, what that tells me is that the market is harder for sellers right now, right? So, it's a good time to get in front of possible sellers and sellers that are still riding on the heels of I can do this myself and I could do it easy and right because they could a little bit ago. Right now, they can't. Okay. Now, here is why now is your time. Okay, guys, because, and hopefully this makes sense to you. This is from Redfin. They have some of the greatest stats. Here's what this is the number of home buyers versus sellers, okay, in each market. So the blue is the sellers, the yellow's the buyers. Okay, so let's just start with today. Look at the gap. Okay, let's look back 17, 15, 16. The number of buyers as they decreased, so did the number of sellers, right? But it stayed pretty even right there. Okay. So this is what everybody's watching and needs to correct. How do you think they're going to correct that? Dropping rates, right? That's the other thing that comes right after what Shelley says is the housing market continues to adjust to respond through fluctuation in mortgage rates. Okay. So get these for sale by owners listed. And when they drop the rates and all these buyers flood back into the market, they're going to be easy to sell. Right. And you guys have got to be talking to these for sale by owners about being buyers. Okay. We need buyers in the market. And so if we've got a for sale by owner that is a possible buyer for one of our houses out there, we've got to get them moved. Okay. So that's one of your mindset things that you're going to talk about, that I'm going to talk about with for sale by owners today. Okay. We need them as a buyer. And so your job is to go out and help them be successful sellers in order to become buyers in our market as well. Okay. All right. So here's the key on for sale by owners. For sale by owners is much more than a script. Okay. So it is a mindset and a strategy. Okay. It's a mindset and a strategy. So I'm going to talk about both of those. So the first thing, number one, why are for sale by owners so great? Because they've already raised their hand and said, I'm interested in selling, right? So they are primed and ready. They've already had the thought about moving, getting out of their house, all of that kind of stuff. Okay. However, Why are they doing it by themselves? Because they think they're going to make more money. Yep, Judson hit it. They think they're going to make more money. Okay. Can they? Maybe, right? I haven't found one yet that I talked to a successful for sale by owner. And when I talked to him, I was like, oh, yeah, I couldn't have gotten you more money, right? Every single time I could have. And I've probably had about 5 of those that I've known personally throughout my 22 years in the career that I've seen someone, I'd be like, oh, and what'd you sell it for? And then I'm just in the back of my head going, oh, God, they left so much money on the table. Okay. So if you found a successful one, that's probably out there. However, guys, it's a tiny, tiny, tiny little percentage of them that can do better than you can. Okay. So here's my first thing. You have to go into for sale by owners with complete and utter clarity on how you can make them more money than they can by doing it on their own. How you can make them more money than them doing it on their own. And now that I just said that, I remember that I forgot to pull up. If anyone has it handy or knows where to get it, I've shared it tons of times, but why the value of working with a realtor. I have that mapped out of all the things that it can add. If anyone has that, will you add it to the chat box for everybody? If you have it handy, I'll try to look at it later if I get a second. But let's talk about those. Okay. So if you guys can open your chat boxes, come off mute, but let's talk about all the value you bring to a seller's transaction that might save them money. What are those things? Yes, bringing qualified buyers, right? Don't waste your time and energy on buyers that cannot even buy your house, right? And we can have those conversations they can't necessarily. What else? What are other reasons we're going to make this for sale by owner more money by working with us? Come on, you guys know these. Yes, professional marketing and photos, right? We know how to get the very best and most professional marketing out there for your property. Here's the other thing we know about marketing. We know where your buyer is most likely at, and I will go market to them, right? I know where your buyer's at. And here's what I'm going to tell you where your buyer's at is with a realtor. The buyer that wants to close in the next 15 to 30 days is out looking with a realtor. And guess who has the realtor relationships? I do, right? That's why I can get you your buyer better than you can. Okay. Marketing knowledge and agent networking. There we go. I just kind of hit that one on agent networking for you, Josh. But market knowledge, that's exactly right. Guys, I do this every day and I study this market. I know exactly how you can succeed in this market. I know exactly how you can make the most money possible in this market. And why do I know that? Because I'm the expert, because I do this every single day, right? Know your numbers, know how many houses you have sold over your career, right? And tell them, I have sold over 150 houses in my career. And how many have you sold, right? You are the expert at this. You do it every day. Exactly. Judson, the MLS reaches hundreds of agents, right? So you have the ability to market it to the most buyers out there. We know how to do that. We know how to get the most eyes on the property as possible. Anything else you guys can think of? I've got a couple more that are rolling around in my head, but I'd love for you guys to answer them first because you're so smart. Anyone? What about your negotiating? Guys, how much does your ability to negotiate help a seller, right? We know what they can negotiate for, what's reasonable, and what's going to kill a deal, right? We know how much things should cost. And we talk about it in buyers and inspections all the time. Buyers naturally think every repair is 3 times more than it actually is, right? So, Mr. For sale by owner, right? I know the actual value and the cost of some of these things so that I can speak directly and professionally with this buyer when we're negotiating your price and when we're negotiating your condition, right? I know what's actual in the market, what can work, what cannot, how you can succeed. Yes, I have been trained on interpreting legal documents, right? I have been trained on interpreting legal documents for you. That's exactly right. We know those documents inside and out. We know how to negotiate them. We know how to use them. And we're going to successfully get you to the closing table, right? They can't guarantee that. Guys, here's another stat you need to have at your fingers. You need to ask these for sale by owners if they know how many houses are falling apart once they have an accepted offer, and if they know why. Okay, and then you guys have to know that, right? Have this chart in your file. The pending fallouts are in a rapid increase right now. Pending fallouts are in a rapid increase. That is something that should scare every for sale by owner out there, because if agents on both sides are having that kind of problem, that likely means they're going to have a harder problem. Okay. Lauren, good one. Safety. That one is part of the scripts. Safety, right? We have lock boxes on houses. We don't just leave their key out for people to come and get what they want. We actually vet who's entering the house. They have to be a licensed person, and they have to have agreed to certain terms and conditions for, number one, entering your house, and number two, bringing strangers into your house, right? The other thing is just the safety of, right, being, this is one that always drove me crazy. And guys, it's as important for you as well, right? But being a single person in a house and inviting strangers to just come into your house all willy-nilly, right? Have they really thought about the danger they're putting themselves into by doing that? Okay, so what'd you guys get from that? That was a lot of talking, but hopefully you got some really good ahas on how you can make these for sale by owners more money. Do you? Okay. So number one, your mindset has to be, when you go into these conversations, guys, I can make you more money. I can make you more money even after you pay my commission. And that's kind of all we got to talk about here, right? So then let's talk strategy. Okay. So the mindset is one, you can make them more money. Now, what's your strategy when you're going in there? Okay. Your strategy is to create doubt. You want to ask questions to create doubt in the for sale by owner's mind that they're the right one to do this. That's exactly what I did when I asked the question about, have you watched the pending fallouts and what's happening currently with those? Have you paid any attention to that? They're going to think, yeah, I don't even know what you're talking about. And where would I find that? Right? Interesting. Well, what I can tell you is I watch those every week. And right now we're in a rapid increase. Here's what it looks like. Right. And right now our boots on the ground are doing every single thing we can to insulate our transactions before they even get under contract, so that when they're under contract, they're going to stay together and get to closing successfully. Right? Isn't that what you want? Once you've accepted an offer, to make sure it gets to closing? Yeah, that's what I want for you too. Okay. So see how you ask the questions to create the doubt in their head, and then you tell them why it's important that you know this stuff. Okay. And can do better than they can. Okay. Any questions before we jump into the actual scripts for this one? And be thinking, because I will need a for sale by owner if somebody is willing to be my script partner on this one. Okay, so let me share my screen. If you have questions, let me know. I closed my chat box, so if you don't see me see it, just holler at me. Okay, so here's what I love about this for sale by owner. So how did this script come to be? For sale by owners was something that when I had reached my max on my sphere where I wanted it to be, it was something I added to get more listings. It was also something I could go out and do if I was down on my listing numbers. Okay, so this was a right now business opportunity for me. Okay, and we don't always have those. So this is one you can use. Now, it's going to take a lot. Okay, so here's the conversion numbers for sale by owners. They are likely going to be ready after probably 5 weeks. Okay, that's on average, 5 weeks. So if you're calling them in their first week, They're not going to be ready to list with you. So you've got to have in place your follow-up system for the next few weeks to convert them. Okay. So that's important. At the bottom of the script is your follow-up schedule. Okay. Every Monday and every Friday is when I would call the for sale by owners. Okay. And here's how that cadence goes. On your first initial call, you're going to ask all the questions. We're going to get to that in just a second. Okay. And then on Mondays, you're going to say, hey, Julie Downey from Century 21 Sheets, just curious, did you sell your house this weekend? Guess what? They didn't. Right? If they did, great. Congratulate them and move on. Good luck with your pending. I hope it stays together. Right? If you have any questions, let me know and hop off. Don't give them free advice. Right? But 9 times out of 10, it didn't. Right? And you're going to say, oh, dang it. How was your activity? Did you have a lot of buyers through? Right? Let's see how many showings they had. And since you've studied the market, you already know how many showings likely happened in their price point in their area. Right? And you can say, yeah, well, gosh, that's interesting. Your showings were down because on all of my listings and our numbers, they really increased this week. Right? We had a huge influx. I just looked on August 6th for buyers. So did you have any showings on August 6th? I wonder why they missed yours. Guys, there's a conversation, right? You're thinking with them. Yeah, I wonder why those buyers didn't see yours. Gosh, okay. You're creating the doubt, right? And that's all you're going to do. Any questions you have for me? Okay, great. I'll keep in touch with you. Good luck this week. Hopefully you'll get a ton of showings because I'm anticipating that for my sellers as well. Have a great week. Okay. Then you're going to call back Friday. Okay. Tell me, how was your week? Right. My showings were outstanding this week. So I know yours had to be too. Right. I had a couple second showings on a house that's real near yours. Right. Tell them what's happening in your stuff. Right. Then on Fridays, you're going to ask if they're having an open house this weekend. Okay. So you're just checking in on them. Every Monday, you're finding out, did it sell over the weekend? How did their open house go? Who came through? Right? What questions are they running into? This is part of the key of the strategy of converting for sale by owners. Okay. So it's important. All right. Let's go dig into the script here. Okay. So what I like about this script. Okay. So that's where I was going. And then I went down to your follow-up system on your strategy. So when I was scripting every single day for at least 5 years, I don't even know, I think it was like 8. My script partner and I loved to do for sale by owners. Okay. And we would go back and forth. So it was always a really good one that could challenge us. And again, it was one we could go out and get business with. So it was one that we frequently practiced. Okay. And through our years, we made this ours. This is what worked for he and I. Okay, to get their for sale by owners. That's what I'm sharing with you. There are tons of different strategies, right? All your coaches out there are going to have a strategy that they like for sale by owners. This is the one that I like the most. And here's what it is. Your initial question or your initial I'm calling because is to see if there's anything I can possibly help you with in the sale of your home. How many realtors ask them that when they call a for sale by owner? No one. Right? So you need to ask them that. Now, who wants to role play with me? Somebody. Come on, you guys got it. I'll make Sarah if you don't. And you know, she's always a good sport about it.
I'll do it. So,
All right, awesome. So James, just role play this with me. Hi, this is Julie Downey, and I'm a realtor with Century 21 Sheets. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking.
Good. Yeah. Hey, listen, I'm calling because I wanted to see, is there anything I can possibly help you with the sale of your home?
What value would you bring?
That's a great question. Well, let me ask, are you looking to hire a realtor?
At the moment, I'm trying to maximize my profits. I'm gonna try to sell it myself.
Yeah, yeah, good job. And what do you mean by maximize your profits?
Well, if I don't have to pay an agent, then that's more money in my pocket.
Yeah, you'd be surprised at how often I hear that actually. Would you be surprised that I can probably put more money in your pocket even after my commission's paid?
Okay, I never heard that one before. Explain that to
Yeah.
me.
Well, okay, great. Well, listen, how about when I come out, do you have this afternoon available? Why don't we sit down and I'll show you every single way and every single thing I do to get my sellers more money and how I can do that for you. And then if you like it, we can see if you want to try to put your house on the market. Are you available this afternoon, maybe at 3?
3 o'clock, no, before. I can be available at 4.
Okay. Okay. So awesome. And guys, here's the most fun thing about this. So my rule on role play is when they've really got you and you're like, "Yeah, I truly don't have another objection," you accept. And if I can show you how you can put more money in your pocket even after you pay my commission, wouldn't you want to know how I do that? And they do. There's very few objections a for sale by owner can give you to putting more money in their pocket. Okay. Now, James did exactly what they might do is number one, they don't ask you, well, what value do you bring? Right. We're thinking of that because we're realtors. So they're going to say, well, how can you do that? And yeah, that is a hugely loaded question and exactly why we should sit down. Do you have 15, 20 minutes maybe tomorrow afternoon? And I'll bring all that stuff and I can actually show you what I do. Okay, so you literally get the opportunity to just set the appointment because they're going to say, yeah, I'd love to know how you do that. Great. So you set the appointment. Okay, so here's some of, he luckily, right, when I said, how can I help you in the sale of your home? 99% of the time, their answer is going to be, well, you can bring me a buyer, right? And then you say, that is my plan. So let me ask, what has you thinking about moving? And then you just jump into your questions, right? What has you thinking about moving? Okay, great. And how soon do you need to be there? Awesome. So let me ask, what price do you have on this property? It does not matter what price they say, you just say it back. Okay? So they say, well, I've got 630, 630. Okay, great. And how do you determine that price? And what are they going to tell you how they determined that price? I looked on Zillow. Okay, interesting. Right? And you're just gonna like, okay, right? So let me ask, how important is it to you to get the very most money from the sale of your home? Guys, what are they gonna say every single time to that? Very. It's the most important thing, right? That is exactly why I'm doing this by myself because I want to put the very most money in my pocket. Interesting. Okay. So if I can show you how I can actually do that and put more money in your pocket, even after you pay my commission, wouldn't you at least want to know how I do that? And then go set your appointment. Okay. Practice, practice, practice this. Let's go through some other information on this, and then we'll do a couple other role plays before we jump off. So these are some key statements that I would find myself using all the time. Okay. Would it surprise you to know that for sale by owners actually net 17% less than sellers that are listed with an agent? That is a National Association of Realtors statistic. You can go find it. For sale by owners actually net 17% less than houses that are listed with an agent. For all the reasons you and I just talked about at the beginning of this call. We listed them, right? All the reasons. It has everything to do with presentation, positioning, and creating buyer confidence. Okay. Here's the interesting thing, guys. I think that number is up to like 23%. So it's worked in your favor. So if 17 felt high, it's higher now. So go get that actual number. Here's another key statement that I would say. So if you could have an aggressive agent like me on your side, and you knew I could make you more money in a shorter period of time, would you want to at least see how I do that? Right? They do. Here's another thing you need to have in your pocket and why you got to practice all these, okay? Because there is one of the two reasons they are listing by themselves is number one, because they think they can make more money and they can do it better. Number two, because they've had a horrible experience with a realtor. 50-50. Okay, so you got to be ready for that one too. Wow. So since you're doing it yourself, you must have had a really bad experience with your last agent to consider going it alone. Okay. So, and then you want to dig into that, right? What was your experience with that agent? Why did you feel like they weren't working for you, right? Ask the questions to uncover what their challenge is and how you can help them get over that. Okay. Questions, comments, statements before we do some more role play here. I can't find my chat box, so if you guys chat, tell me. Good, good, good. All right, James, you ready to go again?
Sure.
Okay, gotta have a different objection this time, all right?
Okay.
All right. Hi, thanks for taking my call. This is Julie Downey, and I'm a realtor with Century 21 Sheets. How are you?
I'm doing well. And yourself?
I'm doing great. Thank you. Hey, listen, I was calling because I wanted to see, is there anything I could possibly do to help you with the sale of your home?
Sure, I'm open to it.
Okay, awesome. Well, let me ask, what has you thinking about moving?
Um, I'm downsizing. We're empty nesters right now. I don't need as much, we
Mm,
don't need as much as home. So we're gonna,
yeah.
and my time frame is about 2 months.
Okay, awesome. And are you hoping to stay in the area or are you moving out of the area?
No, stay in the area. Just a smaller
Awesome.
home.
Okay. And tell me about that 2 months time frame. You said 2 months. It sounds like you might have a date of the place you're going already.
Yes, the home is new construction. Is
Okay.
gonna be completed in about a month, 6 to 8
Okay.
weeks. So I'd like to have my
Gotcha.
house sold before then.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. You're going to need to be. So let me ask, how long will you consider going it alone before you decide to list with an agent with that kind of time frame you're up against?
I'm sorry, repeat the question again.
How long are you going to try to sell it yourself before you'll consider listing with an agent?
I have been trying to sell it for about 3 weeks now, and still
Okay.
haven't got any interest in it.
Mm. Well, let me ask you this. How important is it that you get the most money possible when you sell this house?
Oh, very important.
Okay. Okay. So listen, if I could show you how I can put more money in your pocket, even after you pay my commission, then I can take care of all this. We can get your house sold really quickly for you, get you closed in plenty of time to get into your new construction house. When you want me to share that with you, how I do that?
Yes, and yes.
Yes. Yes. Right? Right? James, there's kind of nothing else you can say, is there? And
Oh,
anyone that says no is just going to feel like an idiot. I did have someone say, well, no, I don't want to hear how you do that. Okay. And I got off the phone. Right. But really, like they are going to say yes. Okay. So it's a pretty easy conversation to have if you have these key questions. And then you remember to set the appointment. Okay. I know you'll have these key questions. You'll be on a roll and you'll be like, I've got them. I've got them. And then you'll forget to just set the appointment. Okay. So keep that in front of you, big and clear. Set the appointment. Get in their house and set the appointment. Okay. All right, we're at 9 o'clock. So I'm gonna let you guys study those, right? Um, study your scripts this week, study those for sale by owners, right? And be ready to go out there and take some listings. Next week, we're going to talk about getting listings off of your buyer wants and needs. Okay, so tune in there and we'll talk more about listings. And I'd love to hear if any of you have success with your for sale by owners. All right, bye everybody. Have a great week. Thank you, James. Love that I can
You're
count on
welcome.
you.
You're welcome. Have a great week.
You too.